Thunderbirds. They got to avoid a slow start. A lot of nervous energy by Weber State that could turn into easy baskets at the other end. Also, they need to take care of the ball. They need to limit their turnovers. For Weber State, they need to rebound, and they're always best when they're sharing the ball.
Overton starts it with a mid-range jumper. The first game for Weber State in a week, and their offense gets off to a good start on the first possession.
You're going to see two of the best guys off the dribble drive in the league, as you just saw J.J. Overton and John Knight III for SUU. Everybody knows in the league they're going to put their head down and get to the paint, but can you stop them once they get to the paint?
Weber State has the number 3 offensive efficiency in Big Sky Conference play. The team with the number 2 best offensive efficiency is Southern Utah. John Knight III misses, but the rebound is collected by Fawcett. The putback no good. Overton the carom.
Mason Fawcett, the second leading rebounder in the league and the leading offensive rebounder in the league. There's going to be some real interesting matchups here with Jawara and Knight matched up with one another, two outstanding guards in the league.
Bassett for 3, no good. He was 53% from distance in the month of January during Big Sky games. During the month of February, down to just 25%. Starts 0 for 1 here tonight. The last time these two teams played, a lot of fireworks offensively. John Knight III has had a great year. And many other guys on this team have contributed heavily, and Nick Fleming has so in the last handful of games. Spurgeon is always looking for a big play. He makes that hook to get things started for Southern Utah. We're tied up at 2.
Jason Spurgeon, 6'11", 235 sophomore, may be the most improved player in the league. In his last 6 games, he's averaging 14, shooting 60%.
So Soho Jawara had a great night the last time these two teams played. He was unbelievable. 25 points. He was 8 of 9 from the field, but was 5 of 6 from 3. Weber State shot 51% from the field and 43% from beyond the arc. Fleming is fouled. That'll be the first foul of the game. Southern Utah will take it from the side out. Now, speaking of Fleming, Coach, this guy has played a lot more lately than he had before. Fleming had 30 minutes at Idaho State. He had never had a game into the 20s when it comes to minutes, and he's come on lately. He had 9 points against Montana, 8 against NAU. He combined to go 6 of 6 from distance, hit 6 in a row there, and he hadn't scored since New Year's Day before all of that. So different people learning to contribute at different times.
Well, SUU has really been bitten by the injury and sickness bug. The leading scorer for the Thunderbirds and the preseason player of the year, Tavian Jones, out altogether. Maybe he will be healthy for the conference tournament, out with a wrist injury.
McEwen. So the baseline is cut off. He'll eventually go to the right wing. Here's J.J. Overton, always looking to slash, and will look to do so here, but it's picked and stolen away. Mason Fawcett. Here's John Knight. McEwen returns the favor with a pocket pick of his own.
Well, Knight, for all he accomplishes, is also one of the top guys in the league for turnovers. He makes a lot of plays. Sometimes those plays aren't always on the positive side of the ledger.
Bassett in the post. Great defense in denying it there by Jason Spurgeon.
Both these teams, Tony, coming off pretty good games of taking care of the basketball with just 9 turnovers apiece. And you see once again, I've mentioned the injury bug. John Knight III with a hip injury comes out here in the first 5 minutes of the game. This SUU team is pretty beat up.
So Jawara from way deep only had 2 on the shot clock. And drama has taken place at Montana State. A 40-footer that was hit at the buzzer, and the Bobcats, in dramatic fashion with a court-storming, buzzer-beating victory, have won the game. That has big implication for Weber State, because a Weber State win here means they're now the 2 seed. Coach, what a favor from the Bobcats. And I know this is the game we'll be talking about, but that game clearly with
that's unbelievable, because Danny Sprinkle was trying to rest some of his guys. They've played 4 games in 7 days this week, and going into the tournament, you've got to think that they are a little bit leg weary. Him trying to save some guys, giving some other guys some chances, and they ended up with a breathtaking win to finish their season.
And speaking of taking advantage of chances, Nick Fleming, the senior from Atlanta, Georgia, has really come on. We talked about that moments ago. He hits a bucket now to tie it up at 4. Dylan Jones in the paint will go against Fawcett. Double team now out to McEwen. Alex Chu with the screen.
Nice job by D. Barnes guarding Cody McEwen, keeping a hand over the ball as McEwen catches it to keep him from rhythming right into his shot. Both teams after each other pretty good right now. All deuced up at 4 here at the D Event Center. Come on back, folks. Got a big one.
Battle. Hit a shot from about 40 feet out at the horn. A court storming takes place at Montana State, and that now changes things up for this evening, because had Northern Colorado won that game, the 2 seed would be theirs. Now, the winner here tonight between Weber State and Southern Utah will be the 2, and whoever comes up short tonight will be the 4.
Well, that is a great win for the Bobcats and a very, very tough loss for the Northern Colorado Bears, as they had the lead going right down to the wire, a 40-footer at the buzzer. What a game.
When the conference has had this drama all season long, what a great way to lead into what will be a tremendous conference tournament. 3 ball, no good. Spurgeon fighting for the rebound, heading to the corner for it is Fawcett. He loses it out of bounds, and it'll go to Weber State. Coach Simon saying you have to have a foul or it's off of Weber.
Nathan Fawcett, what a great job. Remember, he's the guy that shot it from the left wing and traced it and ran it all the way down on that left wing. The all-time leading rebounder for the Thunderbirds is Mason Fawcett.
Overton spinning, hanging, couldn't get the finish. And Southern Utah's done a great job of that scouting report defensively.
Terrific defense by Moody, who is only in his 6th start of the year, in for Dre Maureen, who is out with the stomach ailment.
0 for 3 from distance, Southern Utah. Weber State is 0 for 2. Alex Chu with a nice right-hand hook, and that is good. Alex Chu, more of a defensive big man than offensive, but that's one of those moves they've worked on him with, and it's obvious that he's improved on it game to game.
Well, he's played in 28 games with 3 starts. He's no longer a freshman, but yeah, a right-handed player wants to get to that left shoulder, and to defend that, you've got to lean on that left shoulder, make him do something else.
John Knight III, who had 17 points to go with 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals in the previous matchup, hits that fadeaway, and we're tied at 6.
I think you are seeing 2 of the best athletes in the league with John Knight III and with Kobe McEwen, 2 big, strong perimeter players. John Knight III makes his living in that paint. He's only made 7 3-pointers this entire season. 5 of them have come in the last 3 games, but he is quite the athlete.
J.J. Overton so many different times has been the X factor for Weber State. The first free throw is good. So many different guys you have to be aware of who have explosive talent, and then his ability to find cracks in a defense and get to the rim and get to the line.
J.J. Overton is at his best when he's got the ball in the open court. I think, Tony, he is the best open court player in the entire league. Not only is he quick and athletic, he has great length.
Tremendous instincts, too. Like those inches and those instincts and the ability to finish in transition. An exciting player and such a vital part of Weber State's success this year. Southern Utah team, as you've mentioned, dealing with some injuries and illness, trying to find a way to get a win and be the 2 seed going into the tournament. Here goes Fawcett over Dante Bassett. We're tied at 8.
The leading rebounder in the history of SUU also has 1,000 points in his career. Right now, 3,000-point scores on the court for SUU. If they had Maureen out there, that they have 4,000-point scores on their team, Tony.
And 3 of them scored all 1,000 with Southern Utah. Coach Simon said he feels like he's in the golden age of Southern Utah. John Knight III right to the hoop, and he draws the foul. And this is a guy who has had a really unique career, who, when he started at Utah State, they talked a lot about how they weren't sure about his passing. They knew that he had great playmaking ability. They wanted him to become a better passer. Now the percentages of makes from his passes are extremely high, and he seems to be the ultimate CEO of a basketball program while out there on the court.
Well, he leads the league in steals. Unfortunately, he's only a 65% free throw shooter. Not a great shooter. What he is a great athlete with great competitive spirit.
He's 6th in assist rate in the conference. He's number 1 in steal percentage. And he's the 3rd best at getting to the free throw line when looking at free throw rate. Dyson Kohler in the game for Weber State. And so Zaire Porter, young man out of the Bronx, leaps and leans in the lane, rims one out.
Zaire Porter, the leading scorer off the bench for Weber State, started every game as a junior college transfer last year with the exception of one, has become kind of a super sixth man for the Wildcats this year.
John Knight III with a baby fadeaway, and it's good. So strong, so agile, so fast. And he's put his team up 11-8.
John Knight III, second team All Big Sky last year, was preseason first team this year and living up to that billing.
Fleming goes out to Moody, and here's a straight-on look from 3 that's good from Butler. Timeout Weber State, and a great run here from Southern Utah. They come pouring off the bench. They have the lead. An 8-2 run for Southern Utah. They have found a rhythm, and they're up 14-8. The first 3-point bucket of the game made by Harrison Butler, the senior out of Santa Ana. And a nice start here for the Thunderbirds.
Well, so far, the Wildcats' leading scorer, second leading scorer in the league, Kobe McEwen, without a single field goal attempt.
Three-pointer from Dante Bassett. We talked about the difference between January and February three-point shooting. A 34% three-point shooter overall in conference play.
Dante Bassett didn't even play the first 9 games of the year, Tony, and he started the last 15, and he's made this Wildcat team a lot better.
Fawcett unable to hit in the paint, and a loose ball foul is going to be called against Fawcett.
Coach Simon arguing that call that Fawcett got fouled. I might tend to agree with him, and then Fawcett is the one who ends up with the foul.
14-11 here in the early going. Each team now has finally made a three-point bucket after struggling to get started. A spin by Jones outside to Porter. Back in the paint, back out to Jones. Here's Bassett again, and he hits. Dante Bassett, the senior from Oakland, has tied it up at 14. It's a 6-0 run.
Dante Bassett had his career high down in Cedar City when Weber State won 92-84 with 18. Looking like he's trying to better that tonight.
Weber State, incredible with getting takeaways and turning them into points. J.J. Overton all over that play. It's an 8-0 run.
And that's what you have to do if you're going to compete with Weber State, is not turn it over. They average 8 steals a game, where they turn at least half of those, as you just saw, into scores at the other end.
Number 2 in the conference in takeaway percentage defensively. What a step back, but it's off. What a skying in rebound by John Knight. Has to tiptoe the baseline. And now down the middle goes Butler, and Butler ties it up at 16.
Butler has to be one of the leading candidates for Sixth Man of the Year in the Big Sky. He, along with Zaire Porter for the Wildcats.
Butler now called for the foul here on the other end. Dylan Jones trying to find ways to get downhill. Finally did there on that possession.
Dylan Jones and Kobe McEwen are still both looking for their first field goal attempt of the night.
Jones from South Carolina. This is on the first free throw. This guy who's had a pretty good year at the free throw line overall, although had the big misses there in that last home game against Northern Colorado, averaging 11 rebounds a game. And splits these to give Weber State a 17-16 lead.
Dylan Jones coming off his 12th straight double-figure rebound game, 23 for the year, 16 double-doubles, which is 9th in the country and obviously leads the Big Sky.
Former Utah State Aggies going at it in the paint, but the throw goes back out. Butler misses a three. And Weber State comes the other way. Knight and McEwen have had interesting journeys, and both of them have landed them here in the Big Sky. They're both great stories. McEwen, who was honored here on senior night, now bumps and backs, and it's stripped and it's stolen away. Here comes John Knight. Outside, a three by Moody. That's short. And the putback skied in for, I'll tell you what, Butler has been all over the place tonight. He's playing like the rent is due, getting after the loose balls, playing with great force. Already has 5 points in this one.
Well, Butler is a kid who has only started 2 of the 28 games he's played in this year, Tony. He's a 1,000-point scorer and the second leading rebounder in the history of SUU. The leading rebounder, his teammate Mason Foster.
How about that?
Butler,
they're 1-2. Butler had 18 points. 6 of 9 from the field, 2 of 3 from distance, but it was 4 of 6 from the free throw line, and he missed on both of these here.
Butler's a 71% free throw shooter, and that doesn't help things. When it's
pass at the alley-oop for Overton, and the foul.
Nice little set play there, getting J.J. Overton that ball when he can do something with it up around the rim with that great explosion and those great long arms.
J.J. Overton playing with some emotional passion here. The officials speaking to them. He's a guy that plays with what you would call performance ego. And that's not always a bad thing, by the way. I don't mean that negatively.
He's got a little chip on his shoulder when he gets on the floor. And like you say, you'd like for your team to have just a little of that. Sometimes it can spill over and be a little bit too much.
Free throw good for Overton. And for J.J. Overton now, 9 points already in this game. A big steal. He's done a little bit of everything, Coach.
And Dre Maureen, the outstanding point guard for the T-Birds, still has yet to get on the floor. And I would say he and Tavian Jones will not play tonight. And Coach Simon will save them until the conference tournament.
Spurgeon turning with the right hand. Boy, he's had a couple of nice-looking buckets.
He is the most improved player in the league in my mind, Tony. I mentioned in the last 6 games, he's shooting 60% and averaging 14 points. In their last game, he had 2 points and 3 rebounds down at Cedar City when Weber State beat him. He has come on like gangbusters since Christmas.
Overton misses here. And you're right, Spurgeon has really just continued to evolve. You mentioned the 14 points he's had per average in the last handful of games. A corner 3 off by Fleming. Now Porter comes the other way.
And Fleming, who had an outstanding game off the bench for SUU over at Idaho State, is struggling a little bit to find the range tonight.
Overton from the mid-range. Thought he got hit, no call.
These are the two teams picked 1 and 2 in the preseason polls, and they are going at it tooth and nail right now. A 2-point game, and everybody out there in the short pants, Tony, is competing at a very, very high level.
Nice layup on the opposite side by John Knight III.
And that's what John Knight III does. Everyone knows he makes his living in that paint. But just because you know it doesn't mean you can stop it. One of the best athletes, maybe the top athlete in the Big Sky Conference.
Well, I tell you, Harrison Butler has done a few things tonight. Now he takes the charge, and his teammates certainly appreciate that. All even at 20 apiece. 7:25 left to play here in the first half from the D Event Center.
Do more of what you want to do with an
third with 7. And, Coach, you watched it there with Montana State and Northern Colorado. We're seeing it here with Southern Utah this evening. Injury and illness or a unique situation opening up opportunities for others. And players certainly trying to take advantage of that opportunity.
Well, not only is SUU playing without a couple of starters, and a couple more that either are injured or sick, this is their 3rd game this week, Tony. They played Tuesday, Thursday, or was it Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and this is Weber State's only game of the week.
Moody is off on that 3. Southern Utah just 1 of 8 from distance. McEwen tries at the other end. It's good. The senior from Toronto puts Weber State up 23-20.
McEwen's first shot attempt of the game. Dylan Jones has yet to take a shot. Kobe McEwen coming off a season-tying high, 5 made 3-point shots when the Wildcats had that big win to stop a 2-game losing streak at Flagstaff a week ago.
Butler drives in, and Chu rejects it. Great defense by Kohler as well. When talking with Coach Randy Ray, he said, you want to find a way to stay on the floor? Play some defense. And he likes the defensive intensity of Alex Chu.
Well, Chu's come a long way as a freshman. I think in the next 3 years, you will see a big, strong, big sky post player. His body has changed already in this year, become leaner and more muscular.
Harrison Butler called for the wraparound offensive foul. That is his second now. He's played with some great force here in the early going.
J.J. Overton with 2 fouls as well for the Wildcats.
McEwen on the catch and shoot 3. Misses on this one. Weber State now 3 of 6 from long range. John Knight the third with the crossovers. Now throws it out for Moody, who turns in the paint. And they go back outside to John Knight the third.
Moody tied his season high at Idaho State on Thursday night with 15.
Knight on the post-up fadeaway. Couldn't get the bounce.
Whoa, oh boy, J.J. Overton got away with a couple extra steps, or at least one extra step.
Overton settling into the 10-footer. Off the handle. Spurgeon the rebound. And now it's poked out and stolen. McEwen a deep one. No. Chu, the offensive board. He's fouled. Coach Simon doesn't like it.
And big Alex Chu making his presence felt on the glass. Like you said, Randy Ray said, play defense and rebound, and you will get a whole bunch of playing time. The Thunderbirds showing a little fatigue, Tony, as I look out there on the floor and about 3 guys with their hands on their knees. And when you're in March and you've played 3 games in a week, that has a chance to cost you your legs a little bit.
Colby McEwen backing up. Gets the screen again from Chu. Takes an explosive step but lost the ball. Fawcett with the ball, bounce pass, and in the paint, leaning forward, no good by D. Barnes. Southern Utah wanting the foul, they didn't get it.
Weber State pretty loose with the ball, Tony. Only 9 turnovers the last game. Having a lot of trouble hanging on to it here in this first half.
Both teams have cooled down just a bit here on the last few possessions. Weber State still up by 3. It's 23-20.
A lot of activity, not a whole lot of accomplishment by either team. A fast-paced game, again, where they're not getting a whole lot out of it.
Spurgeon gets deep, doesn't finish, but does get fouled by Chu.
Spurgeon really looks tired to me. Boy, has he improved, as I mentioned early in the game. In the game down at Cedar City, he was not really much of a factor down there. Only 2 points, 3 rebounds.
Well, playing is an important part of that.
No question.
And Coach Todd Simon said he is the guy that is in sole possession of first place when it comes to consumption of sweet chili pistachios. Says it's actually his breakfast. Well, Spurgeon brought him a bag of sweet chili pistachios there to the office. He said ever since then, he lets Spurgeon decide when he's going to come out of the game.
If I knew sweet chili pistachios would do that for you, I may have to include those in my diet. Because this kid has really gotten better. If he continues to improve at this rate, he may not be just the best big guy in the league in 2 years. He may be the best player in the league in 2 years.
Overton has it dialed in tonight. He has 11 points now here in this first half. Fleming goes to Spurgeon, who's going to bump and back on Bassett. Now throw it back out to Fleming. A left angle 3 rattles in. They're just 2 of 9 from 3, but they've had a number of good looks.
Well, they have, and fatigue may be playing a part in them not shooting the ball really well. They've missed a few right around the rim as well. Of course, Wildcats defense has something to do with that as well.
Bassett's hit 2, and he doesn't draw iron on this attempt.
That is what I used to call a DNDI. Did not draw iron. All deuced up here in the D Event Center.
Bring you back here to the D Event Center, all even at 25 apiece with Southern Utah and Weber State. With the coach, Joe Cravens, I'm Tony Parks. A great rivalry in the Big Sky and a great battle here tonight with the 2 seed on the line. The team that comes up short tonight will be the 4 seed when they go to Boise. Fawcett, a 3rd time, gets it. Well, that'll pad the stats on being the #1 rebounder in program history.
Well, the 2nd leading rebounder in the league, the #1 offensive rebounder in the league, 1,000-point scorer. He has had a terrific career for the Thunderbirds.
What a slicing move by McEwen, but doesn't get that bounce.
Pretty good transition defense there by Weber State, especially Dante Bassett, the big guy getting back and helping his teammate stop the ball.
Fawcett looking to back down. Dylan Jones forces one up, gets the foul. No, they call him for a travel. Dyson Kohler now coming back in. Dylan Jones will go sit down, and Coach Dylan Jones yet to have a field goal attempt in this game.
He and Colby McEwen went for a long time before his first shot, and Dylan Jones is a guy that just kind of takes what you're going to give him and certainly never hunts shots.
McEwen off on this one. And so Colby McEwen now 1 of 5 from the field. That one make was a 3-point bucket. Weber State shooting 3 of 9 from distance. Southern Utah at 2 of 9. Spurgeon going to Fleming, who throws across the court. Moody for 3, and he hits.
And that's what you call a roll and replace. The big fella set the ball screen, rolled to the basket, drew 2 defenders, and Spurgeon replaces him, fills in right behind, Moody, the guard, and got himself open for a 3 and a nice pass by his teammate.
5-point lead now for Southern Utah. So Soho Jawara in traffic but finds an open Bassett.
That's a nice job of Jawara just keeping his dribble alive in the paint. He had 3 guys on him that time, and that wasn't a great pass, but it was a real simple pass that led to 2 points.
So Soho Jawara had 25 the last time these 2 teams played. He just has 2 here so far tonight. Bassett now with 8.
He and McEwen combined for 46 points down in Cedar City.
Spurgeon banging around in the paint. Here's a 3 out of the right side, no good from D. Barnes. 3-point game. Just over a minute left to play here in the first.
Outstanding individual defense by Moody. They're not only staying in front of Jawara, but keeping a hand over the ball so Jawara could not rhythm into his shot.
Tries to find rhythm here and hits. So Soho Jawara.
His first basket since he scored one in the first 90 seconds. SUU has been pretty outstanding defensively.
An offensive foul called against Southern Utah. This one will go against Spurgeon. Never Spurgeon, his second. So Butler with 2. John Knight the third with 2. And now Spurgeon with 2. Spurgeon, John Knight the third, and Butler, all with 2 fouls.
And remember, they're playing shorthanded the way it is without their starting point guard, Dre Maureen, and also without the preseason player of the year, Tavian Jones.
Were there times where you may push the envelope with somebody who might be in a bit of foul trouble?
Well, I think you may be forced to right now.
McEwen, a 3. Colby McEwen with 6 points, knocking down a couple of threes. He has 4 rebounds here in the first half. Timeout, Southern Utah. We'll keep it right here What a response from Weber State in this 8-0 run.
Well, it took Kobe McEwen a little body. If he was just a little bit bigger through the shoulders, he would look just like you, I think. He's a little taller.
Yeah, I think he might fit in the suit a little better than I do.
Big momentum play here. If SUU can score going into halftime, it will be kind of a feel-good and a momentum-type score.
Shot clock at 5. John Knight III. So crafty in the paint. And showing why there. John Knight III now with 9. Here's McEwen, a long one. It's no good. And the first half.
A little bit earlier, get a hand over the ball and try to disrupt his rhythm a little bit.
Weber State the lead, Southern Utah the ball. As we've talked about plenty of times before, Southern Utah playing without Jones tonight, playing without Marin. And a team continuing to battle as the number 2 seed is up for grabs. Here is Fawcett, a physical player in the post, backing down Jones. He gets things started well here in the second half. He now has 6. And Southern Utah back up by 1.
Mason Fawcett is kind of taking Dylan Jones to school down there on the low block. Now, Dylan Jones gives up a couple inches, but he's got him outweighed by several pounds. He's got to make a little bit stronger stay against Mason Fawcett. What a great move there.
J.J. Overton now with 13. Weber State taking the lead back.
Dylan Jones has yet to take a field goal attempt and only has 2 rebounds. His string of 12 straight double-digit rebound games is in great jeopardy right now.
Fawcett again in the paint. He's fouled. He doesn't finish, and they're going to say the shot is not going to count anyway.
And that's Dylan Jones' 3rd foul. And this is where Weber State's bench is going to have to rise to the occasion here when they...
This is where it gets awkward. The players lined up assuming that that was a shot attempt. It was one of those in-betweeners. I think I would have considered that a shot attempt, and the officials changed their mind. They were kind of in between on that one and then just simply went with it that it was before the shot attempt. That was close.
They have rarely came over and asked my opinion on that.
Spurgeon and the foul. And the sophomore from Toowoomba has a chance to make it a 3-point play.
And a terrific pass by Knight. Knight gathers such a crowd when he gets to the paint. And you know, like J.J. Overton, he's going to get to the paint. People kind of gang up on him, and he is a great passer there. He leads his team by almost double of anybody, 123 assists for John Knight III on the season.
Spurgeon now a 67% free throw shooter. He does hit that and give him 9 here on the night. Sissoko Jawara finds a crack. Can't get the banker to go, but gets his own in traffic and finishes that. Tie game.
Great hands by Jawara around the basket. I was just getting ready to brag on Knight's ball screen defense there. He got through the ball screen, made Jawara take a tough shot, and couldn't finish the deal. Jawara got right back into play and got that put back.
Fawcett out to Moody. Draws the double. Fawcett for 3. It was online, but it was long and way long. McEwen finds Sissoko Jawara. Looks to hand it back to McEwen, and Fleming goes and gets the loose ball. John Knight III. He knows what to do with that.
And the high-flying Knight. Weber State with 7 turnovers at halftime, coming off a game where they only had 9 on the road at NAU. A little loose with the ball right now, but I think SUU's quick hands and length has a lot to do with that.
Bassett will back it up for 3.
And a little concerning there is Bassett missed that not one white shirt in the paint, Tony, to offensive rebound. Weber State with only 1 offensive rebound in the first half. And again, I don't know their philosophy on their transition defense, whether they're sending 3 guys, 4 guys back in transition, but there was no one to be seen in the paint on that miss by Dante Bassett.
What does John Knight have here with the shot clock winding down? He'll earn a trip to the free throw line and shoot 3. Overton not happy with that.
Knight 1 for 2 from the free throw line in the first half. He has shot 166 free throws on the year. One of the leading free throw attempt guys in the league. Kobe McEwen, 191. He's one of the tops in the nation.
John Knight III, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals at Idaho State. One of those complete players, and Coach Todd Simon has talked a lot about how the whole package has come together, from passing to seeing the floor, when to make a play for himself, when to make a play for a teammate. And he's also a fantastic dad, according to Coach
He
Simon.
is one of those COVID seniors, a fifth-year senior, that as there is many around the nation and many in the Big Sky, obviously, that has had that extra year to develop, and he has taken full advantage of that.
41-37. Southern Utah out in front as they're off to an early 9-4 start in this second half. Bassett turns to the middle, goes up with it, and now will earn a trip to the line.
And a silly foul by the veteran Fawcett there, which is now going to be his, I guess that's just his second. I was thinking his third, but that was one of those, what I call a prom date foul. Keep your hands to yourself, young man. Don't be reaching in there.
You've had this talk before.
Well, I've raised 2 daughters, so they've gone to many proms.
Harrison Butler comes in. You've had a few rules that your daughters have to stay away from particular fans of sports teams. Well, they can't date a former official, right? Is that one of them?
A former, a president, anybody who has officiating in their history, they cannot date an official.
And then what was the other rule you had? Something about, well, you're a passionate baseball guy.
They can't be a Cubs fan. And sure enough, my younger daughter's first job out of college was to work for the Cubs AAA team. Me being a huge Cincinnati Reds fan is the reason for that.
John Knight III is blocked by Kobe McEwen. He gives to Dyson Kohler. Now ahead of the court, J.J. Overton. Fouled. No basket. They're going to call it down.
And as I said, John Knight III and J.J. Overton, you know exactly what they're going to do, but it is a full task. You better bring a lunch and a lantern to try to keep them out of that paint.
The baseline inbound will go to Chu. Now back to Chu on the post. Here's Overton, a rhythm straightaway 3. Three-point shooting, not his specialty. About a 32% three-point shooter. Butler, a strong drive, and Chu the block.
Nice job by Chu, just staying down. That is the way he knows he can keep himself on the floor. That's his second block of the game. Be big, be a rebounder, be a defender, and he's learned just to do that.
Fleming over the trees, but can't hit. So Soho Jawara straight away to Kohler. Kohler yet to take a shot here tonight. Overton not shy, a mid-range floater. And Overton has 15 points. He's 6 of 11.
Well, if there's just a way, and again, I've got all the answers over here, if you could keep him from going to his left where he is just almost unstoppable when he gets a foot in the paint going to that left hand. He's not quite as effective going right, but again, that's a lot easier said than done.
Butler, too many steps. It'll go back to Weber State. The biggest lead for Southern Utah has been 6. The biggest lead for Weber State has been 4. We have a tight one, and it's dead even at 41 with 15:29 left here.
There are 2 heavyweights going at it with 15 minutes to play. J.J. Overton kind of carrying the offensive load right now, 15 points. With 15 minutes to go, his season high, which he's had twice, is 21. And seemingly he has been unstoppable when he puts his head down and goes to the rim.
McEwen taking a bunch of screens off the ball. Now being harassed by John Knight III, and he's fouled Coach Simon didn't like that. John Knight III doesn't seem to have a complaint, though.
Well, that's one of Randy
That
Ray.
is 3 now on John Knight III.
That's one, excuse me, Tony. That's one of Randy Ray's favorite plays coming out of a timeout to kind of spring Colby McEwen for a look. He goes guard to guard with that pass, cuts off the center, and then turns and gets a down screen from the center. John Knight III did a great job of playing that until right at the end where he's called for the foul.
So Soho Jawara loses this out of bounds. Great help defense there by Spurgeon.
I have been extremely impressed with this SUU defense, playing very shorthanded, third game of the season. Their competitive spirit is almost off the chart tonight.
Spurgeon lining up on Alex Chu, gets inside and hits. Spurgeon with 11 now. He's a perfect 4 of 4 from the field, and most of his buckets have looked just like that.
If I was telling my center how to guard Spurgeon, I would call him a wiggler in the post. You have got to stay down and not let him wiggle around you like he just did. That kid has improved by leaps and bounds since Christmas.
Overton will now go to Chu. What does Chu have against Spurgeon? Trapped, goes baseline, it's stolen away. Another great defensive possession by the Birds. Ahead of the floor, Fleming's blocked. Knight the follow, nothing doing. Kohler up the sideline.
That's a tough break for the Thunderbirds, and a great play by Colby McEwen at the defensive end.
So Soho Jawara can't get the crowd to explode there. John Knight III, his second dunk of the half.
Weber State with 10 turnovers now in the game, and Knight really nursing that hip. He's one of the walking wounded, so to speak, for the Thunderbirds.
Now, something didn't look right with the way he came down.
He hurt himself at Idaho State. He's been nursing an injury all year of a hip, and J.J. Overton, again, just carrying the Wildcats offensively. 17 points now, 4 points away from his career high, our season high that he's had twice this year.
7 of 12 from the field here so far.
You know, in a lot of years, J.J. Overton would be a slam dunk first-team all-league guys. With so many super seniors, so many outstanding players this year, I don't know that that'll happen, but he's had a great year for the Wildcats.
Colby McEwen got called for a foul away from the ball. He didn't like the call, but this benefited Weber State because it takes away this Fleming 3. That's actually a tough break for the Thunderbirds.
Well, this may be a battle of attrition to see who can stay in the game foul-wise.
In the corner, 3 on the way is good. And it comes from D. Barnes. Out of that corner, the young man from Gray Mills, Maryland. And now Dante Bassett hobbled a little bit.
And I was just getting ready to brag on Dante Bassett's post defense. And you've heard me say this before, Tony. Most of post defense happens from your waist down, where you can body guys, knock them off their spot. He may be the best guy in the league at that. Of course, he is one of those super seniors. The transfer from Florida is an outstanding post defender.
It's a great contest here tonight. More importantly, you want to see all the teams healthy going into the tournament. That could be a big loss there for Weber State if he's not able to return.
Well, remember, he did not play the first 9 games of the year, and that is J.J. Overton's Achilles heel there, is that pull-up jump shot when he can't get all the way to the rim.
Moody, a good look 3. And after starting a really rough moment to start three-point shooting-wise for Southern Utah, they've now hit back-to-back.
Well, Moody was 5 of 7 over at Idaho State, only 1.
And they've sparked some perimeter shooting and some hard-nosed defense, Coach, to put themselves in this position right now.
Well, here is a huge, huge key in why SUU is out to this 8-point lead, Tony. Weber State, who averages 22 free throws a game, 16 makes. They are only 6 of 7 right now. And as I've always said, if you're going to beat Weber State, you've got to A, take care of the ball, and B, keep them off the free throw line. And SUU has done a pretty good job of keeping them off the free throw line, and Weber State only 5 points off a turnover, so they have executed those two things that I think you need to do to beat the Wildcats.
And they've kept them off the offensive glass. Weber State with just 2 offensive rebounds. You mentioned the free throws. The last time these two teams played, Weber State shot 30 free throws. And as you mentioned before, just 7 at this point tonight. Dante Bassett, who limped off the court earlier, still has yet to return. Dylan Jones with a little 5-footer that he can't hit. And Southern Utah is now going to try to make this a double-digit lead.
And Dylan Jones, the third leading scorer for the Wildcats, has yet to make a field goal. Only 1 point, obviously off of made free throw.
Big takeaway, Kobe McEwen. The bounce to Porter. And that's something Weber State has specialized in this year. Takeaways and turning them into points.
They average 8 steals a game, and at least half of those, they do just that. They turn them into points off the turnovers. They are in their 1-3-1 now, which they like to use, and it's gotten better all year. This will really kind of change SUU's rhythm.
Butler goes to the corner for 3. It's no good from D. Barnes. He hit that one earlier. The lead is down to 6 right now.
Tony, SUU had a 22-point first half lead.
Overton with a beautiful move. He has 19. The lead's back down to 4.
As I was saying, ISU on Thursday night went to a 2-3 zone and completely changed the game and got themselves back in it. Weber State now in their 1-3-1 that they've played all year, and it looks like SUU has really lost their rhythm offensively now.
Moody a rhythm 3, and it just clangs out. Overton the rebound.
And that's the one thing. When you play this 1-3-1, you're going to give up some jump shots, which you have seen. SUU's last 2 possessions have been pretty good looks at 3, but if you don't put it in, then it's going to be a long night versus this 1-3-1 as Michael Kozak continues to build to his all-time leading lead in games played.
Here's Jones with a move in the lane. He's made a field goal. And it's a 6-0 run. He's been quiet most of the night, like you said, but you know he can come alive at any moment.
SUU with 3 timeouts left. I think this may be a good time to call a timeout and talk about attacking this 1-3-1. They've gotten a couple good-looking jump shots at it. They just haven't got anything at the rim at it.
Porter with a foul, and that'll send us to what is the under 12, but there's under 10 left to play here in regulation tonight. Weber State got down by 8. They answered to cut it back down to 2. Right here from the D Event Center on ESPN+.
Have been pretty good looks at 3, but if you don't put it in, then it's going to be a long night versus this 1-3-1 as Michael Kozak continues to build to his all-time leading lead in games played.
Here's Jones with a move in the lane. He's made a field goal. And it's a 6-0 run. He's been quiet most of the night, like you said, but you know he can come alive at any moment.
SUU with 3 timeouts left. I think this may be a good time to call a timeout and talk about attacking this 1-3-1. They've gotten a couple good-looking jump shots at it. They just haven't got anything at the rim at it.
Porter with a foul, and that'll send us to what is the under 12, but there's under 10 left to play here in regulation tonight. Weber State got down by 8. They answered to cut it back down to 2. Right here from the D Event Center on ESPN+. Weber State here tonight. Coach, you mentioned battling that 1-3-1 that Weber State plays with. What would be the big thing you'd emphasize during that timeout if you're Coach Todd Simon?
Well, I think SUU is doing a good job. You've got to split the top, but that's a little bit of a problem because Zaire Porter at 6'6" with those long arms makes it tough on you. You got to try to make a diagonal pass and look down. Some coaches would call that just their diagonal and down offense, but you're going to give up a jump shot right there. They gave up the drive on one of the best driving guards maybe in the nation, and John Knight III. Anytime you're in a zone, Tony, the big issue is you've got to guard like you're in a man-to-man and not give up dribble penetration.
If there's a guy who can do the most with any amount of space he's given, it's John Knight III.
Some guys, Tony, are what's called a straight line driver, meaning when they put their head down, they're going to go on a straight line to the basket. John Knight III gives you that shooky where he's going to change direction about 3 times and speed 2 times and then explode when he's at the rim. He is outstanding.
John Knight III having a terrific evening. He now has 17 points. McEwen with his team down by 4. Takes a drive to the right, fades away from 15. Comes up empty there, and now Southern Utah up by 4. And when John Knight III is out there, you could certainly feel that it feels different for this offense.
Well, Moody's doing a great job with individual defense on Colby McEwen. And that just kills you there. That goes an offensive foul on the screen, and that goes down as a turnover. If that is on...
So Mason Fawcett, that'll be his 3rd.
Like I said, this may turn into a battle of attrition. Dante Bassett, after hurting himself, it looked like limping off the court, has not come back yet.
Dylan Jones tried to give it to Kozak, couldn't. John Knight III gets ahead and dunks, but a foul is going to be called as they fouled him away from the ball and on the chase. Sissoko Jawara gets called for this.
Weber State has had a couple timely fouls, one taking that 2-point dunk away, and one, remember, not long ago, taking a 3-point shot away. That's a 5-point swing.
And they want them to take a look at this to see if they should get 2 in the ball. We'll see if that ends up being the case here.
I didn't see that, Tony. As I said, SUU has kind of come out sucking ditch water, so to speak.
Combined points from Jones and McEwen the last time these two teams played. Tonight they've combined for 9. The defense of Southern Utah has had a great game plan in a number of different areas. Keeping Weber State off the free throw line has been an emphasis. Slowing down star guards has been the other. The miss on the front end and the offensive rebound as Butler was able to corral it.
That was a big play by SUU, leaving 2 points they didn't get off the free throw, but getting that offensive rebound by the second leading rebounder in the history of SUU basketball.
John Knight III unable to hit on that, had to create late in the shot clock. McEwen behind the back dribble, bump, fouled. That'll be the 15th foul against Southern Utah.
And more important than that is I think that's John Knight III's 4th foul.
That is his 4th.
And I don't know how long you can take him out of the game, maybe just for a couple minutes. Not only is he in foul trouble, he's kind of hobbling a little bit himself. One of the very, very not only top athletes in the league, could very well be a first-team All-League player, preseason first-team All-League. We'll see pretty soon when those selections come out.
And the Thunderbirds having to dig in deep. Here without some key players tonight, and now foul trouble for John Knight III. Slipping here is Dylan Jones as his foot touched the end line. It'll go back to Southern Utah. What a great test here for the Thunderbirds to see what they can do with some key guys to prove some great depth on this team. Moody lost the handle out of bounds. It'll go to Weber State.
And things getting very, very chippy here as Weber just had their 11th turnover, and Southern Utah didn't help themselves by coming right back down and committing their 9th turnover.
Both teams shooting 5 for 16 from 3. McEwen trying to improve on that, and does. He has 9.
And a nice call by Randy Ray and his staff, bringing Colby McEwen, one of the leading 3-point shooters in the league, up off of that sealed double, coaches call that, at the free throw line.
Fleming stripped. Sissoko Jawara. Here's McEwen in rhythm. NBA range. Hits! Colby McEwen with a crispy 3-piece. And Weber State leads it 55-53.
And I thought the whole key to that was Soho Jawara making a great decision not to push the ball and finding Colby McEwen on the trail.
Weber State over Southern Utah with 7:23 left to go. You couldn't ask for a better stage to be set for the final moments of the regular season. The winner of the game here tonight will represent the 2 seed In the Big Sky tournament next week, whoever comes up short tonight will be the number 4 seed. Montana State with the dramatic win over Northern Colorado to set this up. A 12-2 run by Weber State after getting down by 8. Beautiful cut underneath. Fawcett banging around in the paint and scores it. He may not be 7 foot and 260 pounds, but he can still be a bull in a china shop.
He's pretty handy around that low block, Tony. Again, 1,000-point scorer. And Colby McEwen trying to tie his season high 5 made threes.
And that light is about as green can get. You can feel he knows the money is on the table here tonight.
I don't know what's greener than the light Colby McEwen has. He's hit back-to-back threes to give his Wildcats the lead.
What a move by Butler, and what a great performance from him tonight. Butler has 7 points, but he's done so many things to help this team win. He has 8 rebounds with it, and he's played great defense. McEwen in the paint. Dylan Jones has been quiet tonight. Kozak, the senior, the most experienced Weber State player of all time, comes up short there. And Southern Utah's responded well out of the timeout.
And Dante Bassett must be hurt, Tony. He has not come back in for about the last 10 minutes.
Butler deep in the paint with the spins, and Southern Utah's up by 4. A quick 6-0 spurt out of the timeout.
And here in the last 5 minutes, if it gets any later than this, Southern Utah was only 5 team fouls. They've got 1 to waste. It may be way too early to talk about that right now, but they've done a nice job of keeping Weber State off of the free throw line. Dylan Jones very, very frustrated tonight.
An offensive foul for him here. And for Dylan Jones,
4.
That's going to be 4 for him.
And with 5 minutes left, I think Randy Ray's doing the right thing, just keeping his third leading scorer, leading rebounder, the conference leading rebounder in the game with 5 minutes left. Look for John Knight III to come back in pretty quick here.
Well, what an enormous stretch of play for Southern Utah to do this without Knight on the floor. They struggled with it earlier in this game, and now this one has been a different story.
And Weber State staying in that disruptive
Moody for 3. Couldn't get the bounce there. Dylan Jones in the open court. Now looking to make the move on Moody. Now throws it back out. So Soho Jawara comes around the screen of Dylan Jones, and he'll back down Moody. And a foul is going to be called. It'll be the last one to give, and it's on Moody. Trying to defend that post up. A number of guys that can do great work in the post for Weber State.
Dylan Jones, his 5th rebound on that last rebound, Tony. His 12-game streak of double-digit rebounds is in big jeopardy right now.
Dylan Jones blocked by Moody, but a foul. Moody didn't like that. And for Weber State, with the way things had been going out of that timeout, they had to find any way they could to get some points here. Dylan Jones, 79% free throw shooter. And so far tonight, 1 for 2.
Remember, he struggled, missing a couple against University of Northern Colorado here 2 weeks ago, I believe that was tonight.
Colby McEwen with an interesting moment, coming over having some fun with a friend of his, John Knight III. Made sure to remind him while at the scorer's table. He said, "How many fouls does this guy have?" And they said 4. He said, yeah, you have 4. So he wanted to put that in the back of the mind of John Knight III.
The 2 best athletes in the Big Sky Conference.
Some great friendly banter with 4:45 and so much on the line here this evening. 59-57, Southern Utah on top.
Weber stays in there 1-3-1. That is how they got the lead.
Moody just missed again. So Jawara couldn't come down with a rebound. Knight goes underneath in a right-hand jam for Butler. The timely plays have come from Butler.
And I've talked about when John Knight gets it to the paint, what a crowd that he gathers, and he can really pass out of it.
3, no good. Rebound is going to be corralled by Fleming. Southern Utah by 4.
Tony, what a great game.
No, it's been terrific. This is what the Big Sky has been all season long.
I'm nervous as a bad girl in church, and I have nothing to do with it. I'm just watching here.
Moody again, and the third time's the charm here in the late moments of the second half. Southern Utah by 7.
Moody, as I said, coming off a 5 of 7 3-point shot game at Idaho State.
Moody was just 2 of 8 from 3 before that. He had missed a few in a row that looked good. They were on line, and they were just off. Southern Utah comes in tonight. No Jones and no Marin. And they're up 7 here with under 4 to play. A loose ball out of bounds off of Weber State, as McEwen was diving for it out of bounds, and that will send us to the under 4 timeout. Southern Utah by 7. 3:20 left to play here in regulation from the D Event Center. Here, coach, with about as big a defensive possession as they've had all year.
And I think before that timeout, Randy Ray got out of that 1-3-1, mostly because Moody had dinged him for back-to-back threes and gone back to his man-to-man, and I think that was a very wise decision.
Butler with another big play tonight. He has 14. 9 rebounds to go with it. It's a 10-point lead. McEwen answers with an and one.
So talented and so strong is Kobe McEwen. That is Kobe McEwen's first basket that has not been a 3-point basket. Before that, 4 of 13 from the floor, 4 of 10 from 3. A chance now to get it back to 7.
McEwen with 14 points and 7 rebounds. This is his first free throw of the night. It's a rare thing to see Weber State
only 10 free throws.
Shoot just 10 free throws up to this point. It's down to 7.
Now back to that 1-3-1. Zaire Porter makes it really tough out front with that great length. Wildcats better find that guy right
Here's
there.
Moody again. Another clutch outside shot by the Thunderbirds.
And as I said, that 1-3-1, you're going to give up a jump shot. You just got to hope it doesn't go down.
Overton just short. And now John Knight III will walk it up, and they'll take their time. In control, up by 10.
They don't want to get too awful conservative here. This will be an interesting matchup. Porter on Knight. Look for Knight just to take it into his hands, just as Kobe McEwen has done.
Just over 2 minutes left, and the water turning red. Knight goes outside. It's Butler with a hand in his face, and he hits anyway. Incredible performance from Butler with 17.
And that bugaboo of defending the three-point line that Weber State has struggled with all year, Tony. Kind of coming back to haunt him.
A rare offensive rebound for Weber State tonight. Overton goes up, gets fouled. What terrific clutch shooting from Moody, from Butler.
And Tony, for whatever reason, as I mentioned, Weber State has struggled all year to defend the three-point line. They are 10th in the Big Sky Conference in three-point defense. And again, I don't know why that is, because I know Randy Ray is a very, very good defensive coach, but they have struggled all year to keep teams from shooting a good three-point percentage against them.
54.5% from 3 here in this second half for Southern Utah. A turnover and an easy one, a gift from Southern Utah. Great job by Moody to take his time to inbound here. Fleming is harassed and fouled. He'll go to the free throw line. It'll be 1-1.
And this could very well turn into a free throw shooting contest. SUU needs to do everything they can on that dead ball, or that in-out of not in-out, where they're inbounding it, not inbounding it to the corner, to try to inbound it to the middle of the court if they can.
Nick Fleming misses. It's as good as a turnover. So Southern Utah having a tough time putting the lid on this thing, at least for the moment. A turnover and then the missed front end of a 1-and-1. Overton slashing to the rim. That's the 5th foul on John Knight. He'll be out of the game. Overton will shoot 2.
Now with SUU with 2 timeouts left, now, or if Overton hits both of these, or the second one, now may be a good time to use one of those and draw your press offense up. And again, try not to inbound it to the coffin corner there. Try to get it to the middle of the court. Then it turns into a free throw shooting contest.
Coach Simon using the 5th foul and the time to replace John Knight III as a mini timeout. So now D. Barnes is out there with Fleming, Butler, Moody, and Spurgeon. So many different guys with so many great moments tonight for Southern Utah.
SU a good free throw shooting team, not a great one, 71%.
Weber State 3rd in the conference from the stripe during conference play, 76.2%. Overton tonight, well, that make is now 6 for 6. And he has 22 at the moment, now 23.
Which is a new season and career high for the young man.
Spurgeon with the inbound. Harassed in the backcourt, a deflection, and a near steal. Overton had to play overly aggressive and crashed into Fleming. It will be the 10th team foul that will send Fleming to the line for 2 free throws.
And you might wonder why Jason Spurgeon at 6'11" is in the game at the end, where all they got to do is get it in and take care of it. The reason he's in the game is he's 6'11", and all you got to do is throw it up there sometimes and let him go get it. And he's very, very hard then to double team because he can look over the double team. Now, as I said, it just turns into a free throw shooting contest for SUU. If they hit their free throws, then they can seal this one away.
Hoping Overton's going to be okay. Really smashed his head into the back of Fleming. And Overton had to push the envelope to try and get a takeaway there.
Oh, he did the right thing.
This has been a guy in Nick Fleming that has had such an outstanding stretch, and Overton will go to the bench hoping he's going to be all right. But Fleming has really contributed and come on lately. Remember, he hadn't scored since like New Year's Day, and then all of a sudden comes in a few games ago, contributes very well. He had a stretch of hitting 6 straight threes, scored 9 against Montana, 8 timely points against Northern Arizona. And you love to see that as the season moves along, whether you can have a continued discovery of depth. It's a 9-point lead for Southern Utah. In desperation time here for Weber State. McEwen deep in the paint. Crafty with the move. It's down to 7. And a timeout for Weber State. They'll have 2 left after this one.
All right.
Or maybe down.
Tight situation.
You want every inch you can get in this situation. One that has to be focused on, too, is the possession arrow.
Look for Mason Fawcett, Tony, here to run and come back to the ball, just as I suspected. And at 6'7", able to throw out of that double team.
They get it across the timeline. Fawcett was in the corner. Moody is fouled. Dylan Jones got him. And so now Moody, an 84.6% free throw shooter, will go to the line. And Moody tonight, who had some good look threes that he wasn't able to hit for a while, caught fire there for a moment, and was a big part of this team. Eventually pulling away and being in this position for Dylan Jones. That's foul number 5.
If Moody hits these, they don't have to score another basket. They have to make free throws. Time is on their side.
Annan Moody, whose wife is a school teacher. It's been such a vital part of this program. And family-oriented is the way it is felt within that program. And different people with families that play for this team. McEwen lost it out of bounds. It'll go to Southern Utah. And the Thunderbirds in control, up by 9 with 43.7.
Watch Fawcett again, fake like he's going long, come back to the ball. It's a pretty good press break there when you've got a guy as experienced and as savvy as Mason Fawcett.
Both teams will take the long walk multiple times. Southern Utah, 12 of 18 from the free throw line tonight. And for Fawcett, this is his first trip there. 8 points, 4 of 11 from the field, 7 rebounds, and a couple of steals. But some of his work in the post tonight, incredible. Such a physical player. You mentioned it with the moves, the quickness, and then on top of that, the way he uses his physicality.
Well, you don't become the all-time leading rebounder in the history of your program without having some toughness about you and a little bit of savvy.
Well, he is down to 8. And Sissoko Jawara hits that, and Weber State will call their final timeout.
Now, again, it becomes the season and got beat in the semifinals by Montana State last year.
They were tested tonight so many times with key players being out for a variety of reasons. They had foul issues. They shot just 27% from 3 in the first half. They're likely not to shoot another 3 the rest of the way and would end up at 54.5% from 3 in the second half. Just great adjustments. They had to break the 1-3-1 and figure out how to work with that. They had to figure out how to play without John Knight through some key minutes. His team just kept on making the key adjustment.
What I like,
put themselves in this position.
Excuse me, Tony. What I like about what Todd Simon did that last time out, he changed his press attack and got the ball to the guy, the hot hand at the free throw line, Moody. I thought that was a kind of a very subtle and key adjustment there.
Sissoko Jawara short on that one. They'll throw it out, and I think Weber State's going to let them run it out. Butler will bring it across the timeline. What a finish to the season, Coach.
What a great regular season game between the two teams that were picked first and second in the preseason poll and could very, very well meet again in just a few days in the conference tournament.
They were without key players. They were without John Knight III, who had some foul trouble. What a win that signifies mental toughness for Southern Utah. They're rewarded